الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد.
Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak to everyone. Could you please stand up and make a straight line, and lots of people is coming. Almost the main door is almost filled, but here is a big gap. Could you please everybody stand up, please? Sister too. And fill up your gap, please. Have a seat. Jazakallah khair.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر كثيرا والحمد لله كثيرا سبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا لا الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر كبيرا وسبحان الله بكرة وأصيلا الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد
We're just waiting to get a signal if we can start. Start? Yes. Assalamu alaikum. As you know, there is no adhan or iqama for Salatul Eid. We simply say, Aqimus Salah, and everyone gets up, inshallah. The Salah is first, and then the khutbah follows. We are trying to keep it between 5 to 7 minutes for the Salah, 10 to 12 minutes for the khutbah. So inshallah, everybody will be out in about 20 minutes. But we have another prayer coming, 4 other prayers. So please don't stay around a lot. Meet the family, take some quick pictures, and keep moving out so that we don't create a backup and then a traffic jam for the rest of the people. It's Sunday, so others are also going to church. Sugarland is going to be very busy. So please help us out, inshallah. So let's stand up for Salah. As you know, in Salatul Eid, according to one of the narrations, inshallah, we'll do 7 takbirat in the first rak'ah, 5 in the second, inshallah, and then we'll go immediately to the khutbah. Allahu Akbar. 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 Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة أصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشيا متصديا من خشية الله وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم الله أكبر سبحان الله سمع الله لمن حمده الله أكبر سبحان ربي سبحان ربي سبحان ربي الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والتين والزيتون وتؤر سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن التقويم ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون. فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم. سبحان ربي العظيم. سبحان ربي. سبحان ربي. سبحان ربي. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. One more. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر ولله الحمد. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل فقد أمرنا الله بذلك في القرآن المجيد. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Eid Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indeed accept all of your good deeds during these first 10 days of the blessed month of Dhul Hijjah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gathers us as He gathered every single one of the approximately 2.5 million people currently at Hajj. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept their Hajj. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala return them safely to their families. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all of their dua. This month of Dhul Hijjah concludes the Hijri calendar year. It is a beautiful time for us to reflect, first at the level of self, and then the family, and then the community. It is a time in which the first 10 days are among the best of the entire year. And indeed, if you haven't yet, today is the 10th day, you can still take advantage of it through dua, through sadaqah, to increasing reading of the Quran, and through remembrance of the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his family. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with the example of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And although there are so many differences in all of the religions, alhamdulillah, everyone accepts the fact that there was someone named Abraham or Ibrahim. And indeed, all of the prophets, as we know, came from his lineage. Why is that important? His life was a life of submission. His life was a life of sacrifice. His life was a life of service. His life was a life of dua. If nothing else, we have to ask ourselves, how close are we to living such a life? How close are we to looking at how he lived his life, and of course the other prophets that came after him? If we look around at our brothers and sisters in Gaza, in Rafah, in the West Bank, in other parts of the world, with the Uyghur brothers and sisters, with the Rohingya brothers and sisters, in Kashmir, indeed all over the world, one thing common among all of them, in Syria, in Somalia, wherever you are, one thing common among them is that they never give up trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They never give up turning to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking His assistance and making constant dua. Indeed, Ibrahim alayhi salam is known as the father of the prophets. But how did it start? It starts when you look at Surah Safat in verses 100 to 112. We won't go through all of them, but he says, Rabbi habli min as-salihin. Oh Allah, grant me a righteous son. A righteous son. This is the original dua. And the other verses start to chronicle what his life was like with Ismail alayhi salam. And Ismail alayhi salam is born not only, and the Quran describes him, subhanallah, فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ, that the good news that was given in the answer to this dua is that you will have not only a righteous son, but a son indeed who has hilm as a characteristic. The most closest we understand this concept is to halim, the dish that we eat. But why is it called that? It takes so long to make the good dish. It takes a long time to make. So a person who perseveres, is patient, is one in whom hilm is complete. And indeed, Ismail alayhi salam is given that characteristic. So who is he? How does he grow up? He grows up in the company of a father who submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A mother, Hajar alayhi salam, who submits to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who serves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who sacrifices in His name. And the ultimate sacrifice, the command is for the Ibrahim alayhi salam to sacrifice his son. And what is the reaction of that son? He indeed turns to his father, Ya abati, if'al ma tu'maru. Oh my father, do as you have been commanded to do. Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. Insha'Allah, you will find me among those who are patient. If you reflect on these verses alone, and there's so much more to say, you realize
that we cannot expect sudden change or transformation without making dua. We must make the effort, but the dua is immediately there and connected very much to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills for us to connect to Him. It is through dua. Every salah that we make, there is a dua component. Make sure that you're sitting with your family and explaining to them the power of dua. Indeed, as we understand in Surah Ibrahim, verses 40 and 41, again, Rabbi aj'alni min muqim as-salati wa min dhurriyati. Oh Allah, make me from among those who indeed establish the prayer. Imagine a prophet of Allah making a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make me from among those who establish the prayer. Wa min dhurriyati. He doesn't know at that time, thousands of years ago, that not only with his dua, but He answered for him, for his immediate children, for the prophets who will come after him. But indeed, the fact that we are sitting here in 2024, in this world that we have set up, where almost 2 billion Muslims continue to establish the prayer, this is the power of dua. This is the power of dua. Never having ever met the Prophet ﷺ, but we follow his example, power of dua, because he was concerned about his ummah, and indeed we are that ummah. So what do we gain from this? We gather today in commemoration of the fact of this sacrifice. The sacrifice that almost occurred, where a father literally was about to follow the command of his Lord. But we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. There was no other way the story would turn except that the answer to this submission would have been the reward of a sacrifice of an animal. And so we have those who make the intention, inshallah, to go today to make the sacrifice, or in the Ayyam al-Tashriq, in the few days that are coming after. Or those who will send the money to having the qurbani or the udhiyah done on our behalf, either locally or overseas. And if you haven't done it yet, consider both options. In as much as we are concerned about overseas, we also have within these United States Muslim families very much in need of our support, very much suffering from food insecurity, and we are indeed to do our best to be able to allow our sadaqah and our charity in the form of this meat to be able to reach them. And ultimately, the power of dua will reflect in our own families, and inshallah we'll cover that in the next few minutes. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, sallu alayhi wa salliman tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim fil alameen, innaka hamidun majid. Imagine a life that you would have to live for you to be the Khalil of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, called that way in the Quran. For you to be literally the father of all of the prophets that would come, and for you to have an entire pillar of Islam centered around you and the life of your family. The Hajj that we follow now, of course the actual arkan are described to us and by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it commemorates the life of Ibrahim alayhi salam, of his wife Hajar alayhi salam, of the sacrifices of his son Ismail alayhi salam. All of that came from dua. So today as we leave, please reflect. Take some time to reflect. As this Hijri year comes to an end, is my life any different? Is there anything I can do to make some minor or major course corrections in who I am, in how I conduct myself, in the state of my family, in the condition of my community? Have some concern. In as much as all of us would gather to make dua, especially in the last third of the night, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is completely possible for Him to bring the entire destruction of Gaza to a halt just like that, because it is in His power to do so. But are we sincerely turning to Him in that dua? Are we sincerely asking Him to make us among those whose dua that He accepts? And indeed, as we make dua for our families, this is what Ibrahim alayhi salam did, and I'll close with that. As he and his son, which is interesting, in this nation in which we live, our home, today is also commemorated as Father's Day. It would be important if you meet your neighbors, if you meet other people who are not Muslims, to let them know that not only is the rest of the country talking about Father's Day, we are talking about the father of all the prophets. And then let them know which prophets you believe in, and blow their minds when you let them know you are waiting for the return of Isa alayhi salam, that you love Musa alayhi salam, that you have a special place in your heart for the sacrifices of Nuh alayhi salam, and on and on and on. When the project was complete, when the foundation of the Kaaba was complete, Ibrahim alayhi salam, the father, with the son Ismail alayhi salam, turned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not saying that, look, all of this is what we did. Look how much we did for you. Look, shouldn't there be a mention somewhere? No. He made the dua, a simple dua, and this is what I will end with. Rabbana taqabbal minna. Rabbana taqabbal minna. This should be something that we should be saying over and over and over again. Even when you click to send the udhiya or the qurbani, believe me, if Allah wills, if it's the niyyah is not there, if the dua is not there, it could be possible that the server doesn't connect. Your actual udhiya never reaches the organization. They are never aware that you attempted to do this because you didn't say at the beginning, make a niyyah, and at the end, Rabbana taqabbal minna. Are you following what I'm saying? This is how critical it is. The salah that we do, the zakah that we give, the sadaqah that we give, the dua that we make, the Quran that we read, the fasting that we do, all of the sacrifices on behalf of our family, make that dua. And then let us close inshallah with dua. And I am just literally received the message, subhanAllah, make dua. Dr. Yahya Alwi, who is a beloved member of our community, had suffered a stroke last night. He's currently in the hospital. He has given khutbah many times. He teaches here, and indeed we begin with that. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him shifa, a complete shifa and healing and a lasting recovery. Allahumma ya Allah, ya dal jalali wal kamali wal ikram. Allahumma a'izz al-Islam wal muslimin. Allahumma ansur Islam wal mujahideen fi kulli makan. Ya azizu ya jabbar ya karimu ya ghaffar. Allahumma akfir lana wa li walidayna. Allahumma akfir lana saghirina wa kabirina wa hayyina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghaibina wa dhakarina wa unsana ya rabbil alamin. Allahumma rabbana hab lana min أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم اشفي مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين اللهم اشفي مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين اللهم اشفي مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Indeed, Eid Mubarak. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from all of you. Please remember, let's keep this Eid moving. Take the pictures. You got to move out because we're going to make it difficult for the next group. Thank you so much. And donate to the masjid as you leave, inshallah. Make sure you donate something before you leave.
Jazakallah khairan, Brother Altaf, for a beautiful khutbah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept it from all of us. Eid Mubarak to everyone. As you heard the Imam, please donate to the masjid on your way out. And kindly, if you can, make your way out of the building as soon as possible so we can make room for the other people who are coming for next prayer. Those who are already here for the next prayer, please give some room for the people to leave the building, and then you can go in, inshallah. Please, if you're done with the prayer, just make your way out of the building and of the parking lot as soon as possible. Thank you. Eid Mubarak. And again, remember, please, to donate to your masjid. Jazakumullahu khairan. Eid Mubarak.
Come.